Hi guys, I'm Arveman901. I got an Instagram account with the same name where I post comics that I read. Now I want to talk about some comics that I posted recently. It's three comics today. Web of Spider-Man number 110, What If Volume 2 number 59, and The Shroud number 1. All of these comics are from 1994. Also want to talk about a character called Iron Fist. I think most of you have heard of him. Anyway, gonna start with Web of Spider-Man 110. This issue is written by Terry Kavanagh, penciled by Alex Saviuk, and inked by Steven Baskerville, as you can see here. It's also centered around Lizard. As you might know, he's Curtis Connors, old Spider-Man villain from the 60s. He has recently escaped custody from the Vault, which is basically a supervillain prison. He has escaped and he kind of randomly fights some bikers called the Pipers. He's pretty vicious, kills them all, well, at least many of them, and then basically hitch a ride away, as you can see here. Now, the government realizes that they need to get rid of this menace once and for all. I think it's a special branch of the government, not very well known. Anyway, they hire Warrant, also known as Grey Garrison, to hunt down and kill the Lizard. I have only met Warrant once, I think, against Iron Fist, but I know that this is a very lethal character. Anyway, Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, learns about the Lizard's escape fairly randomly when he is at the Daily Bugle, and he realizes that the Lizard's family is in danger, or may be in danger. So he leaves, tries to find them. The family members are called Martha Connors and William Connors. Martha kind of freaks out about all this, and Spider-Man, being a friend of them for a long time, wants to help them through this ordeal. However, when he arrives, he finds Warrant there, trying to harm them, he guesses. But Warrant, of course, goes through the idea that Lizard might go to the family or contact them in some way, and he kidnaps the son, William, either used as a bargain or just to find out where the father is. In the struggle between Warrant and Spider-Man, the roof caves in and Spider-Man is trapped underneath, making the escape with William possible for Warrant. So that is that comic, very nicely done. I love Alex Saviuk. He has a great style and, well, yeah, just great issue. So we're gonna go into a What If issue here. Those who have read What If might know that these comics are basically based on different universes, different realities, different outcomes from different choices. Yeah. The narrator of this is, of course, the Watcher, or Uatu. But this issue is volume 2, 59. And it's about Wolverine leading the Alpha Flight in the 70s. It is written by Simon Furman, penciled by Brian Hitch, and inked by Joseph Rubinstein. So we start the issue with the X-Men having trouble with Alpha Flight, which they had in the beginning of the new X-Men, or new lineup, as you might call it, where Wolverine is introduced into the X-Men and all that. There were a couple of fights. I remember Alpha Flight attacking the X-Men, the X-Men going over to help Alpha Flight, later to fight them. It's a whole thing in the beginning here. Anyway, Alpha Flight kind of blows up the X-Men's ship, the airplane basically, or whatever you might want to call that thing, killing these characters, killing Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Colossus. Of course, not having happened in the comics originally, this changes a lot of things. Before this, they had captured Wolverine. He had agreed to come along to the Alpha Flight headquarters. Anyway, the destruction of the X-Men is not exactly something that Guardian or James MacDonald Hudson wanted. As you can see here, he is very upset, only to find out that the one who actually killed them, who actually pressed the button on the missile launch, was Northstar. Wolverine only finds out that the X-Men are dead. MacDonald Hudson keeps some of the information from him, not wanting him to overreact or something like that. Wolverine being kind of a aggressive character, it's somewhat understandable. Anyway, Hudson manages to convince Wolverine to lead Alpha Flight, and they go on a mission to go to the negative zone, as they had a breach or something like that at their headquarters. Alpha Flight goes over to the negative zone, fights these weird aliens and Annihilus, who is a Fantastic Four villain from a long time ago, a very dangerous character overall. The fight is kind of vicious. Wolverine gains control of the cosmic rod that Annihilus needs to be able to survive or be able to be as powerful as he is. And Wolverine makes a deal with the alien. I don't really remember what the deal was, and it's not really important either. Not for the story anyway. Turns out that Wolverine is actually kind of a natural leader for these mutants, these characters overall. And he teaches Wild Child, among others, to kind of nurture his abilities, not to go into rages and nurture the wild side of his being. However, as the repercussion of the X-Men dying in the beginning has to do with the Dark Phoenix being more embraced in the whole Dark Phoenix saga, some of you who have read it might know that the Hellfire Club, basically took control over her psyche. Well, Mastermind did. He completely fools her into living a fantasy, which makes her incredibly dangerous, and the whole Phoenix Force is going a little bit nuts. So Professor Xavier calls the Alpha Flight. Well, he gets contact with Wolverine, asks them to come and help. As Professor X, of course, assembled another team of the X-Men, consisting here, as you can see, of Havoc, Angel, Iceman, and Beast. And, they get captured by the amazing power that is the Dark Phoenix. As you can see here, and Mastermind behind her being the puppet master. Of course, he manipulates Wolverine, shows him the truth of the matter, shows how North Star killed the X-Men, and he goes berserk. She tries to manipulate him into killing North Star. However, Wolverine goes with his instincts and kills Dark Phoenix instead, saving billions of creatures doing so, but, well, the outcome is, of course, different from the reality of it. Well, but from the original story. Wolverine, however, continues to lead Alpha Flight, and that's where the story ends. Very interesting story. Most of the stories usually go beyond what we know of the characters, go in a different direction, changes the characters through experience. It's all it's kind of interesting. So I'm gonna go for another interesting thing here, and that is the Shroud. Now, this character has been around since the 70s, but hasn't gotten much exposure. He's seen as kind of a bad guy, but that is the idea. He is a superhero. He saves people, but he goes kind of different path than most people do. He wants to be seen as a gang leader. He leads the Night Watch, which basically are supervillains, small-time supervillains, but still supervillains that he, in this way, controls to make sure they don't really do too much damage, and also to, well, take care of, in a way, kind of like Punisher. You know, he takes care of the small-time crooks, the gangsters. He usually hangs out in Los Angeles, but now he is in New York. So this issue, which is the first issue, is written by Mike Barr, penciled by MC Wyman, and inked by Malcolm Jones. And he is trying to stop a gang war, I guess, take them out of the equation, I guess, between Garrick King and the Captain. Never really heard of these characters before now, but well, obviously they're gangsters, gang leaders. Shroud fights them, he stops them basically, but not entirely, as he has to take control of Garrick King. I think the Captain just basically lay down and quit or something like that. Not really sure, not very informative about it in this issue. However, he goes to Garrick King to take control over his assets and the likes, still playing the bad guy. We get to see more of his origin. Interestingly enough, he has a very similar origin to Batman. Where his parents died, he starts to train both physically and mentally, learn how to fight crime basically, and then he starts to vary as he finds the cult of Kali, which is an evil cult in Asia where they use some kind of religious meaning, I guess, and rituals into forming their cult of warriors. The initiation of this ritual is, of course, blinding their members using this certain brand of Kali, I guess you could say, where they burn their eyes out. Apparently it works so that he becomes more like Daredevil, I guess. His senses get enhanced, and somehow he gains control of the Dark Force. Not really sure if he would have done so either way, if it's a mutation, or if he gains control because of the ritual. Anyway, Scorpion is hired to kill Garrison. To kill King, Garrick King, and Spider-Man kind of just happens along and decides to fight this guy, to fight Scorpion, his old enemy, and so does Shroud, as he kind of follows King. The fight is pretty amazing, really. Love the way the movement is in the pictures. Also how awesome, really freaking awesome, Shroud is with his powers. However, the fight doesn't really go as they want, and well, as the heroes want, as Spider-Man is knocked out underneath some rubble, and so is Shroud. Not knocked out, but he's stuck. And well, the Scorpion, being the asshole that it really is, he wants to kill them by blowing them up, but let's do it slowly, ending in a cliffhanger, really. Great issue, really excited about it, really. The first issue of Shroud. So very exciting. Next up is the character I want to talk about, and that is Iron Fist. A lot of people know him. He's been on Netflix, 2 seasons, fairly alright. Unfortunately, it could have been a lot better, but hey, still alright. Now, Iron Fist is very much a martial artist, having disappeared into Kunlun right after his parents died, by some family friends, actually, the Meacham family. In Kunlun he learns a lot about martial arts and also a lot about Shi and all that. He has to fight the dragon called Xiao, I think you might say his name is. Xiao the Undying, anyway. He fights the dragon, gains the Iron Fist symbol, the dragon tattoo on him, and the power of the Iron Fist. Very interesting character. Died a couple of times, come back in Submariner, among other things. His first appearance is in Marvel Premiere number 15 from 1974. And interestingly enough, something that most people don't know is that the first superhero that Sabretooth fought was actually Iron Fist. So some interesting facts about this superhero and this supervillain too, actually. As you might notice, I have some problem with the sound. Hopefully I will be able to get it fixed. Anyway, thank you all for listening. I have really enjoyed doing this, and I hope you enjoyed listening to it as well. I plan on next making an episode on Suicide Run, featuring the Punisher. It's a very interesting story, a very graphic story. Of course, all of them are, but check out my Instagram if you want to check out the stories, and I have already posted it on my Instagram, but this will be a little bit more specific and on point. All credit, of course, goes to Marvel and the creators of these comics. You should always check out their app called Marvel Unlimited. There are plenty of stories there, and not that expensive, really. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you will stay safe. And I hope you will stay tuned. Okay, bye.